So what is the way forward from here? Well, Robin Speculand is author of Bricks to Bridges, and he's also the head of British Business Consultancy, and he's with me now. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you.
What can Mr. Eddington's successor learn from his strategy going forward?
It's an excellent question. Going forward, the challenge is any new CEO coming into the position has to start to put his personality and his new strategy into the organization. And we see it all the time, whether it's just happened in GE or the changes that are happening in Hewlett-Packard at the moment. Organizations start with the new leadership and very much start to think about a new strategy. The challenge is not just to craft the strategy, but to implement it. Because 9 out of 10, 90% of strategies fail to be implemented successfully across not just the UK, but globally. And it's horrific failure rate. And it's something we can no longer put up with. What we need to now start to do differently is to think about how we're going to implement the strategies. And for the successors, they've got two challenges now. One, to identify the new strategy and craft it, and two, to start to implement it across the whole business, across every part of where they're working and operating.
Robin, if I might butt in and ask you briefly, there is a danger that one tries to establish oneself as a new leader and implement a new strategy in order to do that, and therefore perhaps wipes away some of the positive things that have happened in this case in the last 5 years.
What will happen is, with the development of the new strategy, they will start to look at new opportunities in the market. And will that mean going forward and maybe some of the benefits that have been in the past having to revisit and change? Absolutely. But what's important is that they start to realize that the implementation is all about making the effort to do things differently from what has happened. And keep in mind, at the end of the day, it's not the leadership who implement the strategy. It's going to be the staff. What does new strategy and new leadership tend to mean to most of the staff? 2 words. It means more work. At the end of the day, strategy implementation to the staff is going to mean a new leadership, a new style. There will be confusion, there will be misunderstandings, and it will be more work as they clarify between the old and the new way of doing things. How often do you see it? You get the momentum and the excitement up front. Everybody's like, yeah, let's go for it. There's tons of energy. Yeah? Sound familiar? 6 months later, you go back in. What's the situation? In fact, go back to the scenario I shared with you right at the start. The CEO standing on the stage. He launches the strategy with the town hall meeting. Posters go up all around the room in the office. The PowerPoint's beautifully prepared. They launch the strategy. Fast forward 12 months. Same stage, same CEO, same staff. And what's he saying this time? Ladies and gentlemen, we have just had a strategic failure. Have you ever heard a CEO use those 2 words together?
Well, in today's competitive marketplace, designing a viable strategy is only the first challenge.
And the second, the more demanding task, is actually implementing that strategy.
That's right. However, according to our next guest, as much as 90% of the process fades out along the way or simply fails to deliver. Only 10% succeed. So what are companies doing wrong?
Well, let's ask our guest this morning, Robin Speculand, a business consultant specializing in making strategies come alive.
That's right. Good morning. Hello, good morning, and thanks for coming by. What a great way to start an innovation conversation. There are 5 birds. You start out your book by saying there are 5 birds on a fence. How many birds are left, right? And 3 decide to leave. How many birds are left? Yes. So we ask Stephen.
And I'm going to say 2 because I'm,
Which is normally what we hear. And we hear 0, 2, 5, a different range. But what happens is 5 birds sit on a fence, 3 decide to leave. How many are left? 5. Why? They discuss it, they have a conference call, they have a regional meeting, but they haven't yet taken the action that's going to drive it forward. Bricks to Bridges, what we start to talk about is what it takes to make your strategy come alive. And for that to happen, organizations have to realize what we've been doing in the past hasn't worked. Because 9 out of 10 fail. And what we need to change is organizations now need to realize there's a new way in which they can implement it. If I had told you 100 years ago that you would be able to go from London to Singapore in 14 hours, what would you have thought of me? Cuckoo, cuckoo. Yeah? Gone a bit crazy. Check this one out. 50 years from now, you will be able to go from Singapore to London in less than 60 minutes. How come? Out of this world. You'll take off, you'll go straight up, the earth will rotate, and you'll come straight back down. How long will it take you? 60 minutes, and you'll be in London. That's the future of air travel. Sound crazy? No more crazy than it did 100 years ago to the people who were going by steamship. You say you would fly in the air? Cuckoo.
Create Live gets you talking with The Breakfast Club.
Oh, there's 13 minutes past 7. Welcome to The Breakfast Club. Now, if you've ever wondered why, sometimes, even though it's carefully thought out, those plans, those strategies just fail when you try to implement them. And, you know, you're thinking, I wish there was a successful, time-tested way of implementing strategies for change. Well, there is a book written on this topic. It's called Bricks to Bridges, Making Your Implementation Strategy Come Alive. And we're very privileged to have with us in the studio the author of that book. He is Robin Speculand. Welcome to the show, Robin.
So you're looking for the orderly because some of us, you might need to shave around the area for the operation. The Shoedice Hospital doesn't engage orderlies. They give you a razor and you shave yourself for the operation. You think that's bad? It's then time for your operation. You pick up your intravenous strip and you walk yourself down to the operating theater. You hang up your drip and you lie on the table and you think, they're going to put me to sleep now. Nope. Because the doctors only do one kind of operation, they give you a local anesthetic just here, and they numb here. So this part of you is asleep, you're wide awake at this end, and while you're sitting on the table, they talk to you, have you got a family, what do you do, what sports do you enjoy? 15 minutes later, finished. You're looking around for the orderly with the wheelchair, no orderly, no wheelchair. You pick up your intravenous strip and you walk yourself back up to your hospital bed.